All right. Hey everyone, Matt Jauer here. And today I wanted to talk about the equilibrium, or how to actually find a good ratio between consuming versus producing. And this is an important question as a content creator. Why? Because what happens is that you're going to spend some time in your Zettelkasten or in your note-taking system. And what will happen is that sometimes, like, at least it happens with me, like this is what happens with me, is that I go into my Zettelkasten and then I spend hours in it, and then at the end, like, my brain is fried and I am not able to do anything afterwards. And back in 2020, beginning of 2021, I have been producing, or I've been creating and sending a daily email to my newsletter or to my email subscribers. And what happens is that I found there is really an interesting fact, because the thing that I found is I was quite enjoying this writing an email a day kind of routine. I've done almost the same thing on YouTube. Like, if you go back, I guess, to February 2021, you're going to see that I was pretty consistent about publishing a video every day. But here's what I noticed by doing this daily content actually daily, because I thought, and this goes back to a course that I've taken from by Ben Settle, which is called the 10-minute workday. Which the big idea behind this course is that you only need to send, let's say, an email a day that may take you 10 minutes to send out in order just to make money from, like, with your audience. And it is an interesting concept. It may work for some people, but here is like the weird thing that I've actually came across and experienced by doing this, is that for me, like, the big task of the day was to create an email, and voila, I was done. And it gave me kind of an illusion that I've done a lot of things. And it may look like a big thing for some people, but it's actually not enough. Especially when you're starting out. Like, writing one email a day is not enough in order just to get out there and to get traction, right? It may work pretty well if you already have an established audience, and so on and so forth, if you already created your products, etc., etc. So I'm not saying that Ben Settle actually is telling you that you just have to work 10 minutes a day, but it's like, just to give you a little bit of the origin and where actually this idea came from. And it gave, as I told you, like, this is the big takeaway here. It gave me the impression that I was doing a lot, even though I wasn't doing a lot, and at the same time, it's actually not enough. And then a coach actually told me that, well, what if actually I was just batching all the content that I want to create on one day, and spend the rest of my day or the rest of the week actually in consuming and creating notes and all this kind of stuff. And I was a little bit reluctant reductant. Anyways, I was a little bit scared, let's say it like this, about this idea. I was not sure if I had to give it a try. But why do I bring all this up? It's because you have to find the right equilibrium for you. So depending on, first, like, the kind of content that you're creating, maybe you're just creating a podcast, or maybe it's like you're creating videos, or like emails or articles on Medium, or like, you have to find actually your sweet spot. So, because if you want to create, you actually have to consume, right? Content will not come like that. Like, you have actually to feed your brain with some information in order to get some information out there, right? And especially with the growing amount of knowledge that we have, or that we have access to, and we have to keep up to date, right? So this is probably another topic for another episode. So how to keep actually up to date, because if you're just trying to keep up to date with all the overwhelming noise that you have, you'll never be able to catch up on everything. So you really have to be up to date about your market. So what's happening actually in your market and with your audience, and actually find out what are the big principles that you need in order to succeed. But let's leave this for another podcast. And what was I talking about? I was talking about actually finding the right balance and the right equilibrium. And I can't tell you exactly what is the right amount for you. It actually depends where you are in your journey, especially when you're in the beginning. I know that writing one email a day was freaking hard for me at the beginning. It took me maybe 1 hour in order just to write a 300 or 400 word email. But then I just started becoming better at it. And at the beginning, if you don't know a lot, let's say of what you have to do or like how to run a business or all this other kind of stuff, you may have to work very hard, right? Because you cannot compare someone who's just starting out with someone who's already an entrepreneur like for 10 years, right? Which is actually my case, but it still was hard. And I had to put a lot of work into first creating and also consuming. So it's really an equilibrium. Should you do 80-20? Should you do 60-40? Should you do 50-50? Should you do 40-60? Or 60-40 or 40-60 is actually the same, but you got my point. So the thing is that nobody will be able to give you actually the right answer, and you have to test. And the problem is that sometimes you don't really want to test, right? Because it involves to actually flip the tables and just if you, let's say, designed your workflow, and I mean you designed your workflow, why would you want to just destroy something that you just built? There is a kind of resistance, but you have to overcome that. And always keep in mind that you can always switch back through the previous system that you had, through the previous workflow, if it works better. And it's really kind of embracing the habit of doing split tests. This is really the thing. So you have to embrace the fact that everything is a split test. Like your routine right now is a split test. Maybe there is something better out there, and you could become a little bit kind of addicted to that. And especially if you have something that works, then it's great, right? But I think we all have this inner feeling that we could do always better. Probably also some, let's say, things that remains when you're a perfectionist. I'm certainly a perfectionist, and I know that I'm always telling myself I could do better. But on the other hand, I just try also to remember myself that, well, if you get it right with the 80-20 rule, then stick to it. So if how the saying goes, like, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. All right. Sometimes we just want to fix things that aren't broke, but that aren't perfect. So it's really finding the right equilibrium. And I'm just like sharing with you my thoughts right now, because there is one thing that I've experienced also, is that depending also on the content that you want to produce, let's say, if you're creating, let's say, an online course, it's still producing content, right? But just in a different form. And it all depends. If you just want to knock out quickly your ideas, then you may not need to spend as much as time in order, like, for creating content, right? So let's say your thing is just like tweeting, let's say, big ideas. You don't need that much of time actually in front of a computer, spending time in front of a computer in order just to get it out there, right? You could just, like, when you have an inspiration, you just capture your idea, and then you just take, let's say, 1 hour to just schedule out those tweets, and you're done for the week, right? And then the rest of the week, what you can do is maybe you can just take those big ideas that got some retweets or on which you found some interesting indicators on social media, or feedback from your audience that you saw that this actually resonated with them. and then just turn this into a bigger piece of content. And maybe like it will take you 2 days in order just to craft a good article about, or a good video, or depends like on your medium, right? So to just craft a bigger piece of content that actually takes the big idea that you saw that resonated with your market, and then just turn it into a more polished content. All this depends. It really depends on how your workflow is and where you're actually at. If you already have an audience, or if your main goal is just start building an audience. But the thing is that as a content creator, you have to create, and you also have to consume, and you have to review actually knowledge, right? Because this is just like the core of our work. So nobody can actually give you a magic bullet what will work for you. It depends on a variety of factors. But what we can do is, by the time I'm recording this and publishing this, I'm actually offering 30 minutes. What can I say in 3 minutes? A 30 minutes consult with, you can just check out my Calendly in the description. And what we can do on this call, the discovery call, is actually talk about your current workflow. What are the things we can do in order to enhance it? So to really find the right equilibrium. And sometimes what you just need like a question, or a good question, or like an outside perspective to your business in order just to get mind-blowing results. So if that sounds like you, click the first link in the description, and the first or the second, like, you're going to see the link in the description. And yeah, feel free to reach out if you need some help. And with that being said, I see you in the next one.